Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a courtyard at dawn, the thin metallic ring of a needle pulling through cotton, the hollow thump of a hammer against a bicycle rim, the whisper of palm thatch being tucked back into place. What stories does a repaired object carry? What histories hide in a patch, a braided seam, a hastily welded bracket? Today, we walk those quiet paths.
I can almost hear it, the rhythm of hands that have mended for years. As we begin, remember, this episode is a listening exercise. We are not here to romanticize hardship. We are here to learn from labor, care, and skill.
Welcome to Ancient Echoes. I'm Samnang Bradley, and joining me is my co-host, Richana Soul. Today's episode, Mendings and Makers, is monologue-led. I'll share field reflections and conversations I gathered in households and laneside shops, while Richana and I thread in context, questions, and practical guidance for listeners.
Let's make something clear at the start. When we say repair, we mean the full cultural practice, technique, choice, and the social networks that enable it. From a cultural standpoint, repair is about stewardship, household economy, and memory. It's where family stories meet daily survival.
Segment 1. Why Repair Matters. In many Khmer households, the impulse to mend isn't just thrift, it's a moral economy. A torn krama, for example, is not immediately discarded. It is examined. Can it be cut into a smaller wrap? Can a patch honor its pattern? The decision to repair reflects scarcity, yes, but also an ethic of care that links generations.
Historically, before mass-produced goods were widespread, households learned to keep things going through skill sharing and improvisation. That thread continues today. The layers matter. The historical thrift economies, wartime scarcities, and rural livelihoods have all shaped why and how people mend.
I remember sitting beside an elder in a village near the Tonle Sap who had a box of thread and needles arranged like instruments in an orchestra. She said, "We mend because our mothers mended. We mend because if we do not, there is nothing for the next child." That sentence carried both practicality and love, an intergenerational commitment.
This matters for listeners because when we encounter a mender, a seamstress, a tuk-tuk mechanic, a boat mender, we are witnessing knowledge transmission. Notice who gets taught, when, and in what setting. These patterns tell us about gender roles, labor value, and social expectations.
Segment 2. Textiles and Small Mends. Picture a narrow alley where a seamstress sits under a tin awning. Her fingers move so fast you think they might blur. She repairs krama, those checked scarves that are everywhere in Cambodia, with small, almost invisible stitches. Sometimes she patches a sarong in a way that keeps the original fold intact, so the story of wear remains legible.
The etiquette for photographing textile repairs. Ask first. Ask about the significance of the item. Some pieces are heirlooms, others are daily tools. If a grandmother shows you how to stitch, ask if she would like her name or story attached when you share the photo. Consent is part of respect.
I once asked permission to photograph a repaired baby sarong. The woman smiled and said, "Share it, but say the person who taught me was my aunt." That mattered. Attribution recognizes labor and lineage. For listeners who want to document, we'll offer simple prompts later you can use to ask respectfully.
Technically speaking, some stitches carry meaning. An heirloom hem might be finished with a hidden running stitch, small, careful, like a whisper. A visibly reinforced patch can signal pride in the item's utility. As we explore these meanings, remember the research tells us to avoid exoticizing craft as quaint. These are skills with economic and cultural significance.
Segment 3. Metal and Motion. Turn the corner to a market stall
where a man has bicycles stacked like a small metal forest. He straightens rims, retensions spokes, adapts brake pads with whatever is available. In tuk-tuk workshops, mechanics fabricate solutions, a bolt repurposed from an old engine, a spring reshaped by hand. Improvisation here is technical creativity, born of necessity.
These shops are informal schools. Apprentices learn by watching, by handed-down heuristics, how to coax a wheel true, how to judge when a frame can be saved. That apprenticeship is social. The marketplace is a network where parts, stories, and labor circulate. For diaspora listeners, this might sound familiar. Many of us learned on laps and in lanes, not in classrooms.
Important note for safety. We will describe some repairs, but we do not give step-by-step instructions for hazardous tasks. If you're tempted to try complex engine or roof repairs at home, please consult licensed professionals. In show notes, we'll link to vetted cooperatives and local workshops that offer training and safe partnerships.
Segment 4. Wood, Thatch, and Boats. Before the monsoon, families inspect thatched roofs. A small hole patched early prevents a cascade of damage when rains come. At slipways, boat menders patch planks with woven strips and caulk seams with resin. They know the river's moods, and repair rhythm is dictated by season.
Boat mending is a conversation with the water. A patched boat carries the story of last year's storm, the finger marks of the person who repaired it, and sometimes a note about whose hands paid for the materials. Repair becomes part ledger, part memory.
We must be careful not to romanticize these scenes. For many, repair is essential to livelihoods. If a boat can't be fixed, a family may lose income. When we tell these stories, we center makers' perspectives on economic realities and dignity, not just the beauty of skill.
Segment 5. Knowledge networks. Who teaches repair? Often family members, sometimes neighbors, occasionally a market mentor. Gendered roles emerge. Textile mending tends to be taught within domestic spaces and among women, while heavier mechanical repairs are learned in workshops and among men. But there's overlap. Women fix bicycles, and men sometimes sew. And those exceptions reveal flexibility in practice.
Diaspora exchanges are part of this network. Spare parts and tools travel overseas, sent by migrant relatives, keeping repair practices alive back home. Social media clips of men's circulate in diaspora groups and sometimes spark renewed interest in traditional techniques among younger generations.
Now, Segment 6, Ethics, Safety, and Visitor Etiquette. If you encounter a workshop or a home mending scene, first, ask for permission before photographing or recording. Second, offer fair compensation if someone demonstrates their technique for you. Third, do not pressure for trade secrets or step-by-step instructions that are part of a maker's livelihood.
A few simple scripts you can use. May I take a photo of your work? I will include your name if you'd like. Or, would you be comfortable if I recorded a short clip? I'd like to share it with credit. These lines open a respectful exchange and put consent front and center.
Safety reminder again, for risky repairs like roof patching, engines, or boat hole replacements, do not attempt DIY unless you have local training. We frequently heard from makers that well-intentioned volunteers sometimes do more harm than good. Support by commissioning work, donating to cooperatives, or connecting makers with fair markets.
When sharing makers' stories online, avoid revealing precise locations that could attract unwanted visitors or exploit vulnerable livelihoods. Instead, share images that honor the person, include consent statements, and link to ways listeners can help ethically. For example, a verified artisan collective or a local NGO that supports fair pay.
Audience engagement. Here's something we'd love from you. Find a mended object in your home. A patched wallet, a repaired saucepan handle, a restitched hem, and post a short photo or clip with one sentence about who repaired it and what it means. Tag Ancient Echoes and Samnang Bradley's YouTube. We'll curate a few stories into a visual reel that highlights the dignity of repair across places.
If you share, please include a line about consent. Did you ask the person for permission to post? How did you compensate them, if at all? That transparency models ethical sharing and helps others learn better practices.
Before we close, a few practical listening prompts you can use when you encounter makers. Ask, how did you learn this? Ask, is this method older in your family? Ask, what materials do you find hardest to get? These questions are small, but they center the maker's knowledge and respect their labor.
And some photographing etiquette reminders: use natural light when possible. Ask about sensitive patterns or religious motifs before photographing, and offer to send a copy of the image to the maker. Small courtesies go a long way.
Conclusion. What do these mended objects teach us? They teach patience, economy, and a particular kind of care that treats objects as part of a household story. To repeat, we avoid sentimentalizing poverty. Instead, we honor labor, link practices to livelihoods, and encourage support that is ethical and sustainable.
If this episode moved you, consider supporting makers directly. Seek out verified cooperatives, commission a repair, or follow Samnang's YouTube clips to learn how visual context can deepen understanding. The research shows that sustained, respectful engagement matters more than a single viral post.
Thank you for joining us in this quiet exploration. Next episode, we'll look at seasonal festivals that anchor communities in ancestral knowledge. Until then, let's unlock the echoes of history together.